easily a 20-minute conversation this week about stunt maggots. This is the life of a maniac. Hey, maniacs.
I feel like a maniac this week.
Wow, this is the week of Tuesday.
We are recording this on November 7th. So in the U.S., we are 5 days away, 5 days after the election. And on top of everything else that 2020 has brought to us, a joy of joys, this week has been an extra special level of crazy.
It's like the horror of Halloween really hasn't stopped for a week.
It just keeps going, but not in a fun candy way.
No.
Yeah.
Though we gotta say we had a great time on Halloween.
Oh yeah.
We had lots of kids and we were really pleased.
Yeah.
It was a great, beautiful night.
But we've talked about that already. This week is election.
Yeah.
But before we get to that,
Midsomer Maniacs is a recap podcast dedicated to the ITV series Midsomer Murders. Each week we dig in an episode of the show, including the murders, the mayhem, the loonies, the dryer lint, and everything else we love.
Special emphasis on loonies.
Warning, if your kids don't know how to stay out of the dryer, they probably shouldn't be listening to the episode. Did you ever jump in the dryer as a kid?
No.
Neither did I. I was like, that's just wrong.
The closest thing we did was my parents' house was kind of old and they had an oil furnace in the basement. And so all of our heat registers were these big square cast iron grates in the floor.
Yeah.
And we would stand over them in our nightgowns, me and my sister, and let them fill with warm air, and then we would jump in bed.
Oh, no.
Our washer and dryer was in a very scary basement.
Yeah.
So I didn't go anywhere near the dryer.
Our basement was scary for a whole separate reason, including saloon doors and a wet bar.
Yeah. You had 70s scary basement. I had 1890s scary basement. No, never got in a dryer.
So right off the top, a couple of things I want to talk about.
Swag!
Swag
alert!
We have swag available now. Merchandise!
Merch for a good cause.
So what is that cause?
Direct Relief. They offer all kinds of emergency relief all around the world, including medical kits and food and emergency clothes and cleaning supplies and you name it, they're doing it.
What I loved about them is they are nonpartisan, positive technology, positive science, positive medicine.
Yep.
They're a health-based charity.
Yeah.
And we need health-based charities right now.
Yes, we do, for all kinds of reasons.
They help. One of the things they're developing is a better mask right now.
That's great. You may have seen that we announced this week that our merch shop is open.
Well, we were overwhelmed with orders already.
It's awesome.
Fantastic.
It's incredible. So we opened the store via Spreadshirt. And what Spreadshirt does is it puts a flat percentage on top of the cost of producing an item. So for example, for a $20 t-shirt, there's $5 on top of that. And if we were a profitable group, then that would be our profit. But instead, everything that is above and beyond the cost of producing the item, the shirt, the mug, whatever, we are going to donate directly to Direct Relief. We will keep none of it.
Yep. Not a single cent of it is going to.
We're even going to pay the taxes.
Yep.
If you buy something, know that everything on top of the cost of producing that item is going straight to Direct Relief. Our goal is to raise $500 before Christmas.
Yep.
We are well on our way.
I think we're going to blow through that pretty quickly.
I hope so. That would be so great.
That would be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
And that's all you guys.
Yeah. We've got Benbow t-shirts and Rainbird Funeral Services t-shirts and Sacco Fox and Brian Clapper sweatsuit. Nobody seems to like my Brian Clapper sweatsuit design.
I want to get a Brian Clapper sweatsuit sticker.
We have stickers.
Yes.
Travel mugs.
Tote bags,
t-shirts, sweatshirts, you name it. I made sure that we've got some curvy sizes for those of us who are not petite ladies.
The item I featured yesterday was the Bembo tote.
Which is just fun to say.
Yep.
So is Sacco tote.
Yes.
If you suggested a design and you don't see it there, it's not because I didn't like it. I just wanted to get some of them done and get the store open so people could start buying some fun stuff. So we'll have a few waves of designs come out. So. We may add a couple and, in like 2 weeks, maybe we'll add a few more. I'm still working on some, but it's awesome to raise money for such a good cause.
Yeah.
It's awesome to know that there will be people out in the world and already all over the world wearing Midsomer Maniacs stuff.
Yes.
And hopefully seeing one another and going, oh my gosh, I didn't know you listened to that podcast.
Absolutely.
That would be great
That
if it
would
spurred
be
conversation.
fantastic.
And personally, it's very cool to think that somebody is going to be wearing something that I designed. That's really fun.
Yep.
So
that's all updated with the new logo, of course. Also, we updated our logo a bit. And the address is going to be in the show notes. It's going to be in every promotional thing that we send out for the next little while. But just in case you don't click on it there, it is http://shop.spreadshirt.com/midsummer-maniacs-podcast.
basically, if you go to Spreadshirt and search for Midsomer Maniacs, you're going to find it.
Yeah. And I'm going to put the link everywhere.
Yeah.
So don't think you had to write that down or anything.
I can't believe you put the HTTP thing in there. You don't need that.
I'm old school, man.
/ www.
Now, wait. We have
Breaking news.
Breaking news from Washington.
I know. Again, it's November 7th.
Yep. And the breaking news from Washington is not what you think.
No.
Yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before?
I think it was yesterday.
Yesterday. The Midsommer's Facebook, the official Midsomer Murders Facebook account posted some very interesting pictures.
It was a picture of John Barnaby, and what was in the background?
The Capitol building.
That's the U.S. Capitol building, by the way.
And the Lincoln Memorial, not the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Memorial.
We think Barnaby is going to Washington.
Is one of the new episodes set in America? If so, that's incredibly exciting. And why were we not invited?
Exactly. Why were we not there?
We should have been invited.
Because we're not allowed to go anywhere. That's why.
I would have driven there to watch it being filmed.
Oh, yeah.
Midsomer is being filmed in America. We're going.
Yes. How dare they not tell us?
We should be informed.
Oh, we wish we were that important.
It's so weird because I do explain this to a couple of new people, and I'll have to explain it next week to a couple of new people, that we do a recap podcast for a show that's still on, which is kind of weird, but we don't do the latest episodes.
Right. Yeah, because we haven't caught up to them yet.
Yes, we're almost halfway. Okay, so this episode is
Midsummer Life, Season 11, Episode 4, and this is our 63rd episode.
Yes, it is. Filmed in November 2007, broadcast on the 13th of July, 2008. 716 million viewers, directed by Peter Smith and written by Dave Hoskins.
This episode makes up for so many episodes recently that have been overly dark, overly serious.
We are back in Bonkerstown.
Difficult to find any kind of funniness in.
Everybody's bonkers.
Everybody's bonkers. The method of death is always fun.
Sometimes,
is that wrong to say it's fun?
Like sometimes we have difficulty coming up with the names of the episodes because we have something funny to say or something. In the podcast, it's also serious. This episode, I don't know. Like
it's a struggle to choose
10 names we could have for this episode. The Dryer of Death. Because
in the first 30 seconds, literally 30 seconds, we have Brad's magical traveling lump.
Oh, Brad.
He's got this big lump on the side of his head, which is not something that the actor, whose name is Samuel Oatley, has in any other thing I looked around.
And not in this episode. The lump goes away in this episode.
Or did it travel to a different spot on his body? Because it switches sides of his forehead.
He had a very bad day with that lump. And he is sitting somewhere listening to this podcast going, I can't believe they're talking about that lump.
Of course they noticed the lump. It's probably a great big zit. That's probably what it is.
But poor actor who does a great job.
Oh,
he is fantastic at being the most annoying person in the planet.
Absolutely.
He is.
But in the very first scenes, we see him see the car that Charlie Finlayson is dead in. We see him see the car, and the lump is on one side of his head. And then when he's looking in through the window, it's on the other side. And this is not some CGI magic or some makeup magic. It's because they reversed the footage for some reason, but it made this giant lump on his head swap sides. Boop, boop. Magic. Boop, boop. The first thing I did was send you an IM and go, did you notice that Brad's magical traveling lump moves around his head? I'm sorry, Mr. Samuel Oatley, that we're talking about your
And Samuel, you do a great job. And I'm never going to advocate violence, but you have the most punchable face ever.
At least in this episode.
You just look at him and you're like, that face needs to be punched.
He doesn't even have to say anything.
Yep.
He just gives you that big smile with all those teeth with a little bit of sneer. And you're just like, oh, you are cruising for a bruise.
Not even that. There's the picture in the magazine. He's just like, I obviously don't believe anything you're saying.
Are you going to hit me? Oh.
So we have a number of things here.
Yes.
So the backbone of this episode is there is a magazine called Midsomer Life.
Yes.
Which is a local magazine that represents things going on locally. And there's a whole kind of cottage industry for these magazines. Our town has one.
Yeah. Ours is called Bloom.
Yeah.
They're free magazines that are completely supported by advertising. So they'll have like paid content from local businesses and things in them, plus a few articles here and there and some local photography. They're county magazines, usually in the UK, and they're used locally, but they're also distributed at a distance to travel agencies and stuff to promote the local travel.
Yeah. And then the second thread that runs through this whole thing is city people who come to the country to off-road.
To mess everything up.
Boy, there are a lot of mud tire pictures here.
Yeah, I thought this off-road center was really lame. Like, what is it, like a quarter of a mile? It looks like it doubles over itself and everything else. Like, how many of these big trucks can you fit on there at once? And I went looking for other, for real examples of off-road centers in the UK, and they all look exactly like that.
And
like, how long can you drive before somebody has to tow you? That's the game that you're playing.
And that is put in opposition to the yobs in the pub.
Led by the butcher? He's got a striped apron on under his jacket all the time.
With his little car.
Yes, he's got a little Land Rover.
The first bar fight caused by a toy.
Is the pub, the bar at the Moorcroft Hotel, the only bar in Midsummer Sunning?
Apparently, it is.
Because it looks like a high-end hotel bar, but everybody hangs out there like it's the local pub.
And it has, for a show that we've seen that has a lot of low-ceiling pubs, it's like bright and airy.
Because it's a hotel bar.
Yeah. It's
not a pub.
It's weird. So let's get to Maggot Leg. Okay.
Is it his leg or his arm?
Don't know.
I don't know, but there's maggots.
Brad doesn't know because he passes.
Maggots.
We had easily a 20-minute conversation this week about stunt maggots. This is the life of a maniac.
Well, because I know that there are animal handlers on every set where there is any kind of animal in a TV show. And it's very important that the animals are handled correctly and that they're treated humanely and taken care of. But I wondered if that extended all the way down to something as humble as a maggot. Like, is there an insect handler there who has to retrieve each and every one of those and make sure that they go back in their little container and that they're treated okay? Or could they just like brush them off into the leaves and be like, well, they're just maggots. They're going to be flies in 2 days, whatever. There's also a fly handler because there's a lot of flies in that car too.
A lot of flies in that car too.
Only about 2 of them are real. The rest of them are just laying on a piece of paper. But there's a job for you, kids. If you're listening, you too could aspire to be a maggot handler.
Again, another name for the episode.
I will not make a maggot handler t-shirt.
So
I promise.
all of this in the first 30 seconds. And then we spend a whole bunch of time talking about how the film is reversed. It's flipped. Yeah. Okay.
So that Brad's lump can travel.
So that's the reason why Brad's lump can travel. And if you notice on the front of the car, it's a Lexus. It's flipped. Yeah. So it's actually a Lexus.
But we could not figure out why they had to reverse that footage.
No.
There's no logical reason for it.
the dead body and the flashbacks and the scenes that we see also switches from the driver's side to the passenger side, and the steering wheel also switches from the driver's side to the passenger side, so that anyone in North America and or Britain has no idea what this car is doing, what directions it's pointing, or anything.
Or whether Brad is looking into the window that is already broken or the other side of the car. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but it's just fun to notice.
I love when he passes out. He does such a good job.
His eyes roll up.
You hate him already, and then he passes out, and you're like, oh, you immediately get that gratification of comeuppance. Yeah. So all of that.
Maybe he gets some maggots.
We're like 15 minutes into this
podcast.
Not
even that.
No, we're
into the
15
episode,
minutes into this podcast episode, and then Selena Cadell shows up, and we're like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
So Selena Cadell from the first episode.
Yeah, she played Phyllis Cadell in The Killing at Badger's Drift, which is weird because it's the same last name.
Yeah.
But this time she's Elinor Crouch. Such a better name.
But a worse person.
Oh my God, she is the nosiest, most alcoholic busybody ever.
You've got something on your lips.
Your Salvador Dali mustache. Merlot smile. I love how she licks the tissue and cleans her own face with it. She just has a glass of wine going all the time.
The whole time.
And the only reason why Elinor has a job at the hotel is that when Moorcroft's parents passed the hotel on to him as a family business, they said, you have to keep Elinor on. Like, what did she have on them that they said that they had to keep her? So she can't get fired. So she basically just does what she wants, sits around, drinks wine, and is a busybody.
And she is interested in what is in the latest issue of Midsomer Life.
Of course she is.
And I'm interested in two things. What that building is, because A, I want that building.
Yeah.
And B, it's kind of weird it's set apart.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm interested
nearly
in
everything is connected on a high street like that, and it is a building on its own.
What that building is. And second of all, I'm more interested in what the last issue of Midsomer Life had on the cover.
Okay.
Because it's in the
case.
Display case.
Yeah. So what did you learn?
Did you see what the headline was?
No.
The headline is The Rise and Rise of the Garden Shed.
Rise and rise?
Yeah. Like, I think they're saying instead of rise and fall, they're saying the rise and rise again of the garden shed.
Oh, local magazines, they look really hard for stories.
I worked really hard to see that. There's some production person listening to this podcast that goes, finally, somebody saw that.
I could tell you the kerning and the layout of the actual stories is really bad. Oh. If you're not a nerd like me, kerning is the space between lettering in a paragraph when you lay out a page layout like in a magazine, and the letters are like 3 points apart in every word.
So she wants to get the magazine because there's an article coming up in the next issue.
Yes.
That is reviewing the Moorcroft Hotel.
Where she works.
Yes. But they kind of give away the plot.
That it's a bad review?
Yes, because within the preview of the review are the following comments. A well-oiled receptionist, sheets with a little too much, which is a weird thing, a little too much. Acrylic in their blend of fiber. For some hours after leaving the establishment, I felt a bit itchy. And then the article starts with what looks like a paradise hotel is hiding lots of nasty surprises. In our next issue, the famous restaurant and hotel critic, Guy Sandys. Oh, wait a minute.
It's just Sands.
It's just Sands. Will be reviewing the overrated Moorcroft Hotel. There's no surprise there.
Will it be a good review or a bad review? I don't know.
And the title is Hotel Not So Paradiso.
Mm-hmm.
So I immediately think...
What's Hotel Paradiso?
No, I don't.
Oh. I
think, what is that related to Cinema Paradiso?
Oh.
So Cinema Paradiso is a movie that came out, I believe, in the 90s.
Is that I-O at the end? D-C-O instead of just D-So?
I don't know.
Okay.
About a little boy going to a movie theater. It's about the love of movies. It's a beautiful piece of art.
Okay.
And I was like, are they making reference to that? And then I did a search for Hotel Paradiso. And I'm like, oh, no. This is a 1966 movie with that it's based on. That's what the review is referencing.
Wow. That's a kind of far back throwback, isn't it? Like how many readers of the magazine would know about something that was 40 years ago? They're aiming for a certain demographic there then.
Well, I tell you, I went in on a rabbit hole on the poster for this particular movie.
Is it actually a good hotel in the movie?
I have no idea.
Oh.
It's about a writer who goes to Paris to write and the weird things that happen in the hotel he's staying at.
Okay. I would assume that it's a nice hotel because this is not so nice.
Frank Frazetta did the artwork for the poster.
Didn't he do the artwork for like heavy metal or something?
He did lots of heavy metal. He's mostly well known for gigantically muscled men and barely clad women.
Conan.
Yeah. Conan and stuff like that. But he did a lot of movie posters in the 60s and 70s.
Gosh, now I just want to see a Frazetta style poster for Midsomer with Elinor in it.
On a big rock.
Yeah. No, big pile of towels. With her wine glass in her hand like a sword. Oh!
Luckily, we then have an interspersement of Garth's hut of charcoal and murder.
He's not a killer. He just disposes of bodies, Mark. Jeez.
But there are two shots in this episode that are weird. Why we cut to Garth there is weird because he hears the sirens.
Yeah.
And then the do not disturb sign of weirdness.
Yes. Well, that's when the do not disturb sign is when Guy is being killed.
Yes.
Right. So Charlie is dead in his car. He's had a heart attack. He was there spying on his wife, Christina, because Guy Sands is her ex-husband. And he stole Christina away from Guy and they moved to Kensington. So they're very wealthy, famous, rich people. They live in a very nice part of London. But she's slumming it, visiting her brother, Martin, who's the bartender at the hotel. But her husband is suspicious of where she is, so he's spying on her. And because Garth and Julia think that that's Tomlin spying on them, Garth chases him. He has a heart attack and dies.
Yes.
Natural causes, right?
Natural causes.
He dies of natural causes in his car.
Why does Christina only date old people?
I don't know.
Also, why do I hate her every time she opens her mouth?
Because she's nasty, mean, uncooperative, and wears a beret for no purpose.
Okay.
That's why.
Because I kind of like her every other part.
When she's not being nasty, like, I hoped you'd go away.
Yeah.
And it just reminds you that she was in another episode. She was in Market for Murder playing Jenny Sharp, where she had to dive into the pool to get the big ashtrays out and then got killed.
Yep. She got killed.
So you're just kind of waiting for her to get conked with an ashtray. But
unfortunately, no.
And we meet Gemma and Julia.
Eggs?
No. Gemma.
Eggs?
Gemma, played by Debbie Chazen. She's so good. She was in Strangler's Wood.
Eggs?
Where she was supposed to be a foreigner.
From
Brazil, I think,
yeah.
with very
eggs,
weird accent.
No eggs.
But this time, she's a wildlife illustrator who draws cannibal birds and wee baby badgers.
Those illustrations are good.
They are good.
They're good.
I don't know about the cannibal bird one. It's kind of strange. It looked like it was a fine piece of line art, and then somebody put some whiteout on it and drew a bird in another bird's mouth.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
What is in the front of Midsomer Life? The window?
Like on the window?
No. There's a little display in the window.
Oh, I don't know.
There's a badger.
Is it like taxidermy?
Yeah. Like a stuffed badger. And what looks to be a porcupine with sunglasses on. Like it's like blind.
Oh, okay.
It's very strange.
I don't think you want to put taxidermy in a window where it gets sun on it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that start to reek a little bit? The chemicals? I don't know.
I would think so. So this place...
Listeners, if you have taxidermy that you keep in a sunny spot, let us know.
So this is how my life goes with these episodes. I'm like, oh, I need to find the address of that thing right there.
You want to know exactly where that building really is.
Every time that shows up, I'm like looking in the background.
For context.
Context and stuff like that. What got me there was the Nag's Head Inn, which is across the street.
Oh, I thought it would have been like the HSB Bank or something like
There's
that. Like
so
the
many-
real businesses that are there.
No. The Nag's Head Inn is a real business.
Oh, okay. Where is it?
Right beside the HBC across the...
No, I mean... What city is it in?
Okay.
You doofus?
So this is called Market House. It's on North Street in Thames. So we've been to Thames lots of times.
Yes.
But so I saw the Nag's Head, found it and looked on Google Maps and all the things that I have to do to find it. But it is a citizen's advice now.
What is that?
It is an outreach surgery run by the Thames Council. The service provides free, independent, confidential, and impartial advice to everyone on their rights and responsibilities.
So not a surgery.
No.
You said surgery.
It says surgery in the thing, but I don't know why. It says
Okay.
it values diversity, promotes equality, and challenges discrimination. Something that would never appear in the United States. It's an advice center.
You just go there and ask for advice about like your
like
taxes or
anything.
local ordinances or
Yeah.
something? Oh, okay. Wow. Who gets those internships?
Yeah.
I got to do a year at the advice center because I can only imagine it's the same kind of folks coming in over and over and over again.
Citizens advice.
Huh. That's interesting. But I make fun of it, but it's probably a really good service. It probably is really helpful.
Now, the Moorcroft Hotel is in Thames too, but it's not called the Moorcroft.
Okay.
It's called the Spread Eagle Hotel, which is
that's a
name.
bad name.
It's a bad name for a hotel.
That's really bad.
Yeah. But the famous thing is Charles II stayed there.
That phrase must not mean the same in England as it means here. Because if you say somebody's spread eagle, it means that their ankles are really far apart.
Yes.
Usually for a reason.
Yeah.
And not a good.
No.
Well,
depends.
it could be good.
So then this is the Maniac trip I go down. Really, this just documents Maniac trips. So I'm like, Charles II stayed there. Why the crap would he stay there? It's like in Thames. It's like 25 minutes out of London.
Oh, that's a 3-day trip back then.
And then I'm like, Charles II, okay, it's 57 miles.
Yeah, it would have taken
So
days.
It would have definitely taken a day at the very least
Yeah.
to get there.
It would have been time to rest your horses by the time you got that far.
By far.
Yeah.
So it makes sense then, but I was like, that's a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
Why didn't Charles drive there?
It'd be like us going over to Kroger to stay over. Like, oh, it's so far. Whew. But those roadside inns, that's what they were for. You rested your horses or you swapped your horses out. You got a meal. You slept for the night. You got back on the road in the morning. That's what they were for.
And then we go to the Moorcroft Hotel and Martin reading a review. So he's kind of reliving the review of his hotel. I don't understand why he would even keep that.
No. Okay. Yes, I don't understand this because Martin Reed, who's now the bartender at the Moorcroft Hotel, used to own a restaurant that has been reviewed by the magazine. He no longer owns the restaurant. It went into receivership. He went bankrupt. Somebody else is running the restaurant now. So why does he care what the reviews say? It's not his anymore.
I don't know. To give you a hint of my strangeness, one of the times that we see Mr. Tomlin in here being mysterious outside, in the background, he's looking at the Midsomer Life building.
Right.
In the background is Green's Furnishings, the House of Carpet. I was so desperate to find out
where that building
was that I almost called Green's Furnishing and asked them what their old location was because they've moved to a new location.
You are a nerd.
They're a super interesting, fun family that sells home furnishings.
And carpets.
So if you need home furnishings in Thames, go to Green Furnishings.
No, they're not there anymore.
No, they just moved in town.
Oh, okay. So
why do you have a display of a magazine if you hate it?
I don't know, because Moorcroft advertises in it, but that's kind of moot if you pick it up in the hotel. You're already there.
And you sell wine by the glass, and what are those things behind you?
Well, there's a range of things.
Yeah.
But the thing that I noticed most was a cardboard display with packets of peanuts on it for Big D's Peanuts. What caught my eye was the half-naked seductive blonde on the cardboard.
Wait a minute, I missed that?
Oh, yeah, it's okay. I took a picture.
Okay.
I'm like, wait a minute. What does she have to do with peanuts? What is up with that?
Big D's nuts.
Turns out Big D's Nuts has always advertised with half-naked ladies, like Page 3 ladies.
Well, they're a pub food.
They even do a calendar.
Oh, they do.
That is not safe for work unless you work in that kind of place.
Wow.
Yeah. It's bad. But it doesn't fit a nice hotel at all.
Can you imagine Planters?
Mr. Peanut being all scanty and spread eagle.
It's just so weird to see.
He doesn't wear pants. So who knows what we would see?
Those little things between Europe and America that never would
that just
fly.
Don't translate.
Like they have an advice center. That's great. I wish we invite advice centers. I bet you there'd be an advice center in Bloomington that would help people.
Yep.
Right? They're usually called welcome centers.
But then on the other end, they have Page 3 girls and Big D's. Oh man. Just do a quick Google of Big D's retro advertising and wow. Okay. It's not safe for kids to see it.
I have an existential question here.
Mm-hmm. Are you extracting the Michael? Is that what you're about to do?
No.
You remember when Brad said that?
Yes.
He meant taking the Mickey.
Yes.
Are you extracting the Michael? What? Are you trying to be fancy or are you just stupid?
There is a Brad discussion to have, and we will have it.
Okay. Sorry, I'll hold back on the Brad discussion.
Is Cully in this episode?
Her picture is.
And
her wedding photos are.
Yeah, her wedding photos.
And she's on the phone.
But
we don't hear her.
Barnaby's having a birthday.
Joyce is very busy in this episode.
I got to tell you, I have to tell you, I'm disappointed because we don't get to find out when Barnaby's birthday is.
No, there are no dates anywhere on anything. I look. But I sympathize with Joyce in this episode because she says that Tom is so hard to buy a gift for, and you are really hard to buy gifts for.
I am hard to buy for.
You are.
You know what you could buy me? Some Midsomer Maniacs swag. Goes to a good cause.
Plug that merch.
Plug that merch.
We see the cop shop for the first time in the episode, and there are some exciting new posters there.
There are some exciting new posters.
One says, out on the lash, don't flash your cash. So apparently drunk people get mugged or something. I don't know. And the other one says, you've got to shop them to stop them. About shoplifters.
Yep. You got to shop them to stop them.
Oh, fun.
So at this off-road center, and we might as well talk about Brad now. So this is the conceit of the episode in terms of Brad and his little posse, which entails his miniature girlfriend who headbutts people.
They're called Metro Tossers.
Okay.
It's Brad and the Metro Tossers.
His miniature girlfriend who headbutts his miniature Metro Tosser girlfriend who headbutts people. Him and the Metro Tossers.
Yes.
Now, immediately I love Brad because he has the punchable face and he passes out and he's so easy to hate.
Yes.
But then he goes and mentions Werewolf in London.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, maybe you're okay.
I love you.
And then he opens his mouth again and you're like, nope, hit him. Smack him.
He's such a jerk to Garth for no reason at all. Now, Garth's the murderer. I have to explain. I forgot that Julia was the murderer and thought that Garth was the murderer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't do that to Garth because he's going to kill you, man.
He might still. Yeah, there's this weird hierarchy, right? So Guy Sands shows up at the off-road center and Brad immediately starts insulting him as being a toff. You're fancy, you and your old school ties and your buddies and your private schools and you're so fancy and rich, right?
He knows Guy Sands.
Because he used to work for Guy Sands in the big city, right? Yeah. So he's like, oh, you just think you're so special. And little people like me, you don't care about. But then he immediately turns around.
And treats Garth like dirt.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute. Are you a little person or not?
Do you not think they could afford a little better chairs for the outdoor seating?
I don't think they deserve any. Especially when Mandy just drops her trash on the ground. Mandy the headbutter, Metro Tosser.
Oh, Mandy.
There's a trash can right there. They did that on purpose. It's like, and we want you to just look like as much of an asshole as possible. Just drop the trash as close to the trash can as you can, but without any intent of getting it in the trash can.
I think Mandy and Brad do a great job.
Oh, yeah. They're awesome. And Mandy is played by Mayanna Buring, and she's been in all kinds of things since. She's kind of slumming it in a Midsomer episode.
Yeah, I recognized her.
And she has like 2 lines in the whole episode.
And a headbutt.
Otherwise, she just stands behind Brad and sneers at people. Yeah, what he said.
I don't know. Like, he's really tall and she's really short.
Yes.
To get them in the shot together must be difficult sometimes. She must have been on a box a couple of times. On a Scully box.
I love.
Do you know they call them in the industry now Scully boxes?
Yeah. Because in X-Files, she used to stand on a box.
Yeah, because she was
so she would be like shoulder height at least.
So much shorter than Mulder.
I love the line in the restaurant review that says that they have the culinary instinct of a lollipop.
Yep.
I don't know what that means.
A confection of overworked pretentiousness. Vile sludge. Wow.
So when I was doing my master's degree, one job I had for a very short time was I was one of a few people who wrote restaurant reviews for Nouveau magazine. Remember Nouveau?
Yeah,
it was kind of a newspaper magazine thing.
It's still going on, I think.
And we were told that you always find something positive to say. You can critique things and point out the negatives and tell people what to avoid. But in the end, you should always be encouraging people to go out and to eat at restaurants.
Restaurant business is not an easy road to hoe.
Right. So you find something that is worth ordering and talk about it. And then you mention, but I would avoid this, this, and this.
Yeah.
We would never have gotten away with saying vile sludge.
Well, he's the editor-in-chief, too, so he could say whatever he wants.
Well, and he's independently wealthy and doesn't have to make a profit on the magazine, so he can ban Moorcroft from, marketing in the magazine and everything else.
He also has
he
a
can
pool
say exactly what he wants.
His girlfriend and her boyfriend can go bonk in?
I guess.
So
there is something in this episode that I could not figure out. It's not a big thing, but we often ask our viewers to help us out a little bit.
Yep.
And if you look at 23 minutes and 18 seconds, this is when Tomlin is sitting in his car watching Julia leave the Midsomer Life building.
Okay.
There is a building that is kitty corner to Midsomer Life. It's closer to the camera than that building. And it's like a Tudor style building. And on the front sidewalk, very near the door, there is a black and white striped pole that comes up out of the pavement with a globe light fixture on the top that flashes.
Oh.
And I don't know what it is.
I wonder if it's still there. We'll have to look to see if it's still there.
Yeah. Because it's definitely associated with the building. It's not like a traffic light or anything like that. And it's not a barber pole.
No.
It's weird. So 23 minutes, 18 seconds. If you take a look, if you figure out what it is, let me know.
Once we're allowed to go to places and we go to Tem, because we have to go to Tem now.
Well, yeah. Everything's there.
We'll have to have a look for that.
You grew up on a farm.
Yes.
Where there were bovines.
Yes.
Girl cows can have horns.
Yes.
I thought that was common knowledge.
No, it's not common knowledge.
Because Brad's like, somebody put some bulls in that field. And Garth is like, I think you'll find they're cows.
Yeah.
Bulls are cows.
Yes. Okay. So.
Or when you say cow, are you inferring that it's a female?
You're inferring.
I thought that was a heifer.
That's what it is.
Heifers and bulls are both cows.
Heifer is a female cow and bull is a male cow and a steer is a castrated bull.
Right. So
they're all cows.
So when he says they're bulls and Garth says they're cows, they're both right.
Yes.
Except they could be female cows.
Yes.
In which case they would not be bulls.
And not... And
is the implication that a female cow is not going to charge you even if it has horns?
Yes.
Okay.
And the horns are tiny on female cows.
Yes.
But they still have them.
Did you want to shout at Guy, open the envelope? What's in the envelope? Stop carrying around the mysterious envelope.
It might as well have said on the front of it, mysterious envelope.
Yeah. It comes in the door, it goes in his desk, he puts it on the dash of his car, he carries it around.
Why does he take it off the dash of his car when he's going to go talk about the contract to the other guy?
I don't know. Because he wants to carry it around and taunt us with it. Bet you want me to open this envelope. Bet you want to know what's inside. Too bad. You won't find out until later.
What's wrong with paintballing? Only an asshole like Brad would say that.
What's wrong with paintballing? Okay, if you do it, there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
And at least when you're doing it.
And we're not making fun of paintball.
No.
We're making fun of that stereotypical person who says, what's wrong with paintball?
Huh? What's wrong with off-roading? Huh? When
paintballing must have been huge in England at a certain time because, it's in space. It's, in a lot of things.
I think it was one of the ways that places that were more rural, more villagey, drew people from the city out into the countryside in ways that they thought city people would like. So you've got a lot of like corporate training centers in the countryside, right? Where they have like obstacle courses and things like that. And you've got paintball centers and off-road centers and 4x4 buggy riding places and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, we have an
and
episode
Brad is the
coming
kind
up.
of guy who would completely buy into all that.
We have an episode coming up with the obstacle course.
Yes, we do. And we've had one before. So we know that Julia kills Tomlin, not at the hotel, but then throws his stuff out the window and puts a do not disturb sign on the door.
Yeah.
To make it appear as if he is still there and he's not checked out.
Yes.
Did you notice the do not disturb sign?
The whole shot is weird. It's lit weird.
It's slow-mo.
It's slow-mo for some reason.
It's just her hand in a leather glove. She hangs it on the door and then it swings a little bit. But what it's got on it is it says do not disturb, but then it has a circle with a line across it.
Yeah.
And like a little dude behind that. Like no to this guy.
Okay.
Do not disturb.
Don't disturb that guy.
But the first thing I thought of, the shape of the dude is interesting.
Okay.
His pants are very large at the bottom.
I spent a lot of time on this dude.
Well, I've never seen, it's almost like a do not walk symbol kind of. And usually those are as generic as possible, the people that those show. But he is clearly wearing flares. So I immediately thought like,
do not disturb the hippie.
Like, don't do the hustle here. You know, do the hustle. No, don't do the hustle. Or no strutting in bell bottoms. Not allowed to do that. And don't disturb me. It's just weird.
Christina's going home. Not Christina. Elinor's going home. Oi, media baron.
Elinor is just priceless.
I don't know how.
I love how to somebody's face, she will say, actually, you had 6 minutes and that's plenty long enough for you to go off and kill that person.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just saying.
I know who the killer is, but I'm not going to tell you guys. Like, she is cruising for it.
Both Elinor and Christina say some amazingly funny things in this episode that is a testament to their acting ability that they didn't just start laughing right away.
I love her Salvador Dali mustache. That is such a clever line from Martin.
Yeah. Martin's a clever guy.
Yes. Yeah, he's definitely better qualified than he needs to be a bartender.
She doesn't get the attention of the media baron because it's a dead guy. Oh, see what I did there?
Wow. He got stabbed with a letter spike.
Yeah, those letter spikes would never do that.
Oh, I think they would.
No, the thing is they're never attached to the base with enough, like I think it would break off.
Oh, I don't know. Depends which one you got. I immediately thought the one that my dad used to have when he worked at a auto body and an auto repair shop when I was little, because it terrified me. They would put the work orders on it when they were done with them. They would put them on the spike. And it was this cast iron disc with this big spike through it. And they were like one piece.
Wow.
You definitely could kill somebody with it.
With that.
And, you know, she does tap him on the shoulder first, Mark.
She does. The tap of death.
So he spins into the spike. You know, she's got his momentum working in her favor.
I guess.
Mrs. Wilson keeps calling Tomlin, and Elinor so wants to know why. And we want to know why.
Yep.
It's like, Eleanor's like, well, do you want me to give him a message? No, he knows why I'm calling. Do you want to leave your number? No, he has my number. Like, but why are you calling? What? Will you please tell me? Because I'm very nosy. Excuse me. I'm a nosy person, so I need to know.
Hold on. I need a drink of wine.
She is almost the same character that she played in Badger's Drift. Almost. Like, if Phyllis Cadell had moved out of the big house, you know, and gone out and had become an independent person, she could very well have become Elinor.
Can we go over Guy's last day?
Sure.
Because it's weird, right? He starts at Midsomer Life.
Guy's big last day.
And then he goes to the outdoor center.
Right. To cancel Moorcroft's advertising contract.
And then he goes home to get yelled at by his ex-wife,
who waits seemingly for hours and then just stomps off as soon as he gets there.
And then he goes back to the Midsomer Life offices.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he's got work to do.
But why did he go home?
Somebody's got to lay out that magazine. It's not Julia.
No.
It's only two of them.
Why does he go home other than to be yelled at by his ex-wife?
Well, it's another place for him to carry the envelope.
Yes.
So maybe that's why.
Maybe it's a contract killer. Out of nowhere.
I don't know why you're so upset about that. It makes perfect sense to me that they would suspect that maybe Tomlin is a contract killer.
It's not that I'm mad. It's just the idea comes out of nowhere. It's not suggested. It's assumed right away.
That it's possible.
Yes.
I always wonder in British shows why they call somebody's planner their diary.
Yes.
We've been rewatching Thick of It lately just because if I'm going to watch something political, it's got to have Peter Capaldi just cursing.
If you haven't watched Thick of It, usher the children out of the room.
Oh my gosh. It is the most F word per capita word in a show ever, but it's awesome. It's
the BritBox
so
trailer is awesome because it's all just beep.
Yeah, it's just beep, 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 beep. Where was I going?
It has tons of Midsomer people on.
Oh, so they refer to ministers' diaries a lot in Thick of It because it's like their official record of what they were doing that day, that they can question what they were spending their time on. But they talk about Guy's diary to see where he had appointments or what he was busy doing. And we would never call that a diary here.
No.
We call it a planner, his calendar, his appointment book. But here, a diary is like a personal journal. Yeah. That's very private. Nobody would ever say, excuse me, I need to see your diary. No, that's where Elinor puts her secret.
Yes. She was copulating with him.
What is up with that line?
So who says this?
Christina.
Christina says this.
I know that.
About Julia.
About Julia and Guy.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe she's a little bit jealous that her ex-husband is sleeping with another woman, but she just walks out of the room out of nowhere and says she was copulating with Guy on a regular basis.
Forgive my attire.
Like, wouldn't you say, they were sleeping together?
Yeah.
Or they were having an affair.
Yeah.
Or they were lovers or something. And Tomlin went to prison for a sexually motivated murder.
Yes.
What is that?
At the point where we're supposed to start liking Tomlin, I'm still stuck with sexually motivated murder.
That he didn't do.
Is this the nastiest milkman in all of Midsomer?
You're a nasty
Out of nowhere is this nasty milkman who does not appear in the credits.
No.
It's lines and does not appear in the credits.
No.
Obviously, it's a dude from the crew.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'll play the milkman. You're going to be sorry you asked me to. And we're going to have to just talk about Joyce in the whole episode at once because she has some gem lines.
So the Joyce storyline is this. She needs two things for Barnaby's birthday. The first thing she needs is death charcoal.
She needs charcoal.
Murder charcoal.
So that she can make him cook his own birthday dinner.
Yes.
And she needs a present.
A present. Now, Barnaby solves the second thing by saying, I like this picture.
Sort of. She's like, look how good this is. Isn't this great? And he's like, And she's like, Eureka! I have the perfect gift. He clearly loves these badgers.
Now, knowing what we know, 63 episodes, what would you buy Tom Barnaby for his birthday?
I would buy him a day of peace. I would say, here's the TV. There's a match on. What do you want for snacks? No one will bother. That's what I would give him. I would throw his phone in the toilet, lock the door, and say, it's all you.
I was thinking.
And he would be very happy.
Because I don't know why I do this. I always think this is my default gift. I was thinking there's got to be some sort of coffee table book of the history of cricket that he would enjoy looking through.
If he ever got a chance.
If he ever got a chance.
No, I would buy him a day of being left alone. And maybe I'm projecting a little bit. Maybe that's what I want, but I think he would like it.
So because she's going to use Gemma's picture, she goes to Gemma's house.
The cottage that she shares with Garth.
The $1 million cottage they share.
Yeah.
She has a giant studio. Did you want her studio?
In the loft?
I was like,
yeah.
Yeah. Like our house has a bunch of rooms, but I wanted that studio.
Yep, I did too.
Did you notice the millstones up front?
Millstones on a stick.
Millstones on a stick. That's right from my notes.
They're very small.
Yeah.
And I wondered if they weren't even actually stone.
Yeah.
They may not be millstones because one of them at least looks wood.
Okay.
So they may be modern art.
Well, now we'll leave Joyce.
Okay.
Because we have the ending to deal with.
I can't help hearing things if people insist on telling me. That's one of my favorite lines in this.
Somebody walks past the money spinner. I forget who exactly does it.
I think it's Julia when she's in town.
And I'm like, the money spinner? What the hell is the money spinner?
Yeah, what is that? It's a store?
It's a store in Tim. It's not there anymore, but it used to be a hardware store. It's like a dollar store, hardware store. They have a million interesting things out front. I want to go to the dollar spinner, the money spinner.
Why would you call it money spinner? That sounds like a tombola to me.
I don't know. It's Mr. Men's shoe repair now.
Oh, this may be Elinor's murder, may be the first time that somebody is killed in the same building where Barnaby and Jones are currently at.
I believe that's from my notes too. Number 2, this entire scene, I'm watching Garth like a hawk.
Yeah.
Going,
how could he be the killer? He's right there.
He's right there.
Because he's not the killer.
I realize that now.
So my rabbit hole of doom for this episode was, would being in a dryer actually kill you?
Okay, before that, so what happens is there's all this tension in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And they go and talk to...
Between the city yobs and the townie yobs.
Yep. Locals versus city, including toy props.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Like, did he bring that with him for that purpose, hoping that the Metro tossers would show up?
Did you notice way back in the beginning, I forgot to mention it, one of their Range Rovers, they've added an S to the front of it. So it says Strange Rover on the front of it. And I'm like, I want a Strange Rover.
That would be an S and a T.
Yeah, an S and a T.
I like that.
Yeah, Strange Rover.
I support that.
Yeah. So that all's going in the bar. Now, the other people in the bar are Martin, Elinor, who is at this point basically yelling out to anyone who will listen.
I know who the killer is. I'm gonna tell.
Christine's there.
Mm-hmm.
Garth is there.
Yep.
Julia is there.
Yep.
Brad, of course, is there.
Yep. Mandy and the Metro Tossers.
Mandy and the Metro Tossers are there. The Gemma is not there. Eggs. And Matt.
Eggs.
Matt and Barnaby and Jones go and talk in their office.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So that's the scene.
Well, and they're looking for Elinor.
So they go looking for Elinor, who was supposedly doing laundry. It's not my job, but you went and did it later.
Wash the towels anyway, lady.
So then they look in the laundry and they don't see her and they're all about to leave, but Barnaby stops.
He sees the shoe and he hears the dryer. Ka-thunk. Ka-dunk.
They don't give you a reason at first why he stops. They show the shoe, right?
You can see the shoe before they even, when they first come in, you can see it there.
Okay.
Yeah. Her pump is on the mat in front of the dryer.
Because Elinor is in the dryer.
Yes.
And Tom's face, like, oh.
It's a dun, 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 like a dramatic, like, face.
There was a murder 50 yards away from Burnaby. At most, 50 yards.
And nobody else gives a shit.
We're having a bar fight.
They could come in and go, Elinor's dead. And they'd be like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to punch this guy. I'm going to headbutt her. I don't care if somebody's dead in the next room. So here's my theory. I think Julie...
Oh, no, Strange Rover's here.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm glad you pointed that out at this moment.
Sorry.
My theory is that Julia would have had to, like, bonk Elinor on the head and maybe knock her out.
With a blunt object.
Something. A towel. I don't know. And then pushed her the rest of the way in.
Yeah.
Because I went down the rabbit hole to find out exactly how you would die if you were in a industrial tumble dryer like that one is.
Okay.
We kind of need a dryer like that, you know?
We do.
For our family.
We have 1 million children.
Who
all wear merchandise now.
Just the amount of time that passes, if she was uninjured before going in the dryer, she would not be dead yet.
It's like insta-death.
Yeah. So I went looking for what would happen to you if you got in a dryer. So commercial dryers and residential dryers both, they go up to about 145 degrees Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing that would really hurt you initially, if the motor didn't stop right away from your weight.
Yeah.
And I would assume this wouldn't, because a load of wet towels would weigh quite a bit.
As much as Elinor.
So this dryer could handle her weight.
Yeah.
Would be the tumbling, and that your neck would probably get broken, your arms and legs, you know, you definitely would get hurt if you were in there for any amount of time. But then the second thing that might kill you is that the way a dryer circulates air is it's blowing and sucking air in and out of the drum all the time.
Yeah.
So it's blowing in warm air and then sucking that air back out to take the moisture out of the air.
Yeah.
So there's not really a lot of sort of oxygen in there.
That's why it gets like that condensation on the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would have trouble breathing, even if you weren't being tumbled
There's a
around.
vacuum there.
Well,
almost.
it's not that it's a vacuum. It's that there's very little accessible air and it would be very hot.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't want to take a deep breath because it would be hot.
She'd certainly get burnt.
You would get burnt eventually on the sides of the dryer. Your skin wouldn't like it. But in this one, I think you probably just break your neck. But what we know, what really happens to Elinor is that she gets pressed up against the door of the dryer and just rotates.
And turned into a 3-dimensional object.
Yes.
Sorry, a 2-dimensional object.
Yes. But it is definitely next to like the trebuchet with the wine bottles, one of the most innovative ways to kill somebody in Midsomer is to shove them in a dryer.
What we can best see is they've taken a picture of Elinor that's blurry and put it in the dryer that goes round and round, and they show it just for seconds.
Just long enough for you to know that it's her in there and that she's probably dead.
Luckily, they have a Sacco dryer tech to deal with this all.
What would be in the lint trap if you killed somebody in the dryer? It would be nasty. Elinor chunks. Crouch chunks.
So 2 things happen then. So normally, this is a crime scene. Everybody has to be interviewed. It's really ordered, and Barnaby would take into control of the situation. But no, there's a bar fight.
Yeah.
But before the bar fight is the facts. So what's her name? WPC. What is her last name? I don't know. The WBC that we've seen in the last couple episodes.
Brings him a fax from the prison in London where Tomlin has done his time.
How does she know that he's there?
No, she gives that to him in the hallway because he's asked her to get the answer.
Yeah, but how does she know he's at the hotel?
Because he's going there to question people officially, to bring them into the side room and to question them about Guy's murder. So she's there to help him queue people up to be interviewed, which is why Brad's like, how long is it going to take, man? I got things to do. And then they find Elinor.
Yeah.
So she's there to help organize interviews.
Okay.
And then Elinor gets killed. And then Christina and Mandy get in a fight.
And then everybody gets unemployed. Did you notice that?
Yes. Garth gets fired. Martin quits.
And then the headbutt happens.
Elinor dies. There's really only Matt runs this hotel now.
So Mandy headbutts Christine. Mm-hmm. 2 of the most appropriate headbutted people ever.
She's Christina.
She
has to kind of jump up to do it. Got kind of hop.
And then...
oh, my nose. Oh, no.
Then Tom gets punched. Is this the first blood that we've seen from Tom Barnaby?
Maybe. It's definitely the first time he's been, like, punched by a civilian.
Did you notice how cuddly Joyce was in this scene?
Yeah.
She's very...
She's affectionate this whole episode because his birthday's come.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I love when you come over all protective. Do it again.
Yep.
And she's fixing his nose. Yeah, he's got blood on his shirt.
So they go see Jane Wilson and find out that Tomlin is innocent.
Yes. Her sister was the key witness in having him convicted for this sexually motivated murder. But she realizes too late that she's not really sure that he's who she saw. But because she's already sold her story to a paper, to a journalist who was Julia at the time, she can't take that back or express any question about the veracity of her witness statement, because then she'd have to repay the money. What? There's something weird about Mrs. Wilson's house that I don't understand.
Okay.
Her doorbell is in the middle of her door.
Yeah.
And it's not a wireless doorbell. Nowadays, you could stick a doorbell.
It's wired in the door.
It's like an old school doorbell, but it's in the middle of her door. And I just don't know how that would work.
I don't know. Why did they take her to Julia to accuse her?
I don't know.
You would never bring a witness in front of somebody you're accusing.
Yeah. She's there to just go, yeah, here's my side of the story.
Here's the badger picture. By the way, my brother makes charcoal.
Yeah, loads of it.
Garth is Axie.
Out at Garth's charcoal hut in the middle of the wood. Do you know how you make charcoal?
So I know of making charcoal from what I know from Stardew Valley. So you get a charcoal kiln, and you fill it full of wood, and you run it until it becomes charcoal.
You use hardwood that doesn't break up into ash very easily. You get it fully on fire. Every piece of wood has to be burning. And then you limit the air.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's why it's a kiln. Because then you You can do it in a barrel or whatever. You put a cap on it so that it then burns itself out. And what it's burning off are all of the gases and the chemicals that are in the wood. And what is left is just the carbon of that wood. And that's what you use for charcoal.
Wow. So they take Mrs. Wilson to Midsomer Life, and she accuses Julia, and we get the recreation of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a big problem with the recreation of one of the crimes.
Yeah, because we see Julia slitting Tomlin's throat, seemingly like in her kitchen or something.
I don't know where that is.
It's not in the hotel. It has to be in her place. He has to have come to her house to accuse her, and she slits his throat, which would be an incredible mess.
There would be blood everywhere.
It would be quite the crime scene, but
I love it.
I don't think that's where she actually killed him.
She goes, well, arrest me then. And Barnaby's like, okay. And then we get the Midsommer's local
all-star Lady Rubberneckers team.
Yes.
Across the street.
None of these women ever appear in anything else.
What's going on over there?
Like, they won the contest. They're the contest winners.
You too could be an extra in a Midsomer Murders episode. Fill out this postcard, mail it in.
Angry Axie Garth is axing.
How does he know who Joyce is? When Joyce approaches his little cabin, he says, Mrs. Barnaby, you shouldn't have come here.
Yes.
And what's she doing digging around in charcoal bags?
I don't know.
Why would you do that?
Joyce is the good kind of nosy. Well, Elinor's the bad kind of nosy.
She does have on a very nice trench coat.
She does.
With the collar popped in the right way.
She finds a skull.
Yeah.
That skull would be in much, like, to burn a body like that would take a long time.
Making charcoal takes a long time.
Yeah.
You put the lid on the barrel and then you leave it for like 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that would do it.
Is Charlie Finlayson the worst spy ever?
Yes.
He goes to a tree in the middle of a field and stands beside the tree so you could clearly see him.
It's like the Monty Python skit, How Not to Be Seen.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of hider. And then Garth's like, ooh, I'm going to get you. I'm going to chase you even though you're in a car.
I don't understand. Like, okay, I realize that Julia has made poor choices in her life.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of blackmailed that woman into putting Tomlin in jail. Okay?
Yes.
I know she's made poor choices.
Yes.
But at what point do you say, my boyfriend is out of town, so let's go to his house and swim in his pool?
I don't know.
I just think it was a weird choice.
I don't know what she sees in Garth.
Garth shows no passion or enthusiasm about anything the rest of the episode, so.
No, I don't know why he would be willing to be her henchman.
Yeah.
But she knows Tomlin's coming.
Yeah.
So she's on the lookout. So when she sees Charlie, she thinks it's Tomlin.
Yep.
And she's like, get him. He's like, okay.
Okay. I only came for the charcoal.
Garth only helped with the disposal of the body.
That's all.
He's not bad. He just chopped a body up with an axe and burned it. That's bad, Joyce.
Okay. Tom's birthday party.
Poor Tom.
There's lots of people.
Yeah, it's raining. I say it's not nice to make Tom cook his own food at the party, but I don't know. I think he's kind of the kind of guy who would like appreciate just being out at the grill. And
that's not the problem I have. The problem I have is George reaches down and takes some silky material.
It's corn silk. They've got corn on the cob.
Of the sausages.
That's all it is.
It's just weird for me to see him do it. Like, and then I start thinking about being a filmmaker. Like, did they put it on every time and then he took it off every time? Like,
or did he improvise that?
Did he improvise
just to have something to do with his hands?
Your Cumberlands need turning.
Sausage in a coil is weird to us. No, you do not see that here. I mean, maybe if you went to a fancy butcher shop or something, but you just do not see coils of sausage. But
no. Okay. You want to do best corpse or?
Well, that was kind of like a downer, though. Like the end is like, oh, and then there's sausage.
Yeah.
Elinor was in a dryer, for God's sakes. Don't forget that. Metro tossers, Elinor in the dryer, burnt sausages.
The moving lump.
The Brad's magical moving lump.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, best corpse. Nice corpse.
Okay, we have Charlie.
Guy and Elinor.
Guy and Elinor. I'm going to say Guy.
Because he's on the ground with the spike.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost have to separate best death versus best corpse.
Because Elinor's the best death. She may be the best death this season.
Yes, but she's not really a corpse.
No.
He's the only. And you would say, oh, Charlie's a nasty corpse, but we don't really see anything but that one patch of suit with maggots on it. We don't even know what part of his body that is. So.
Yeah, and why did that happen?
Yeah, I give it to Guy.
Guy.
Yep.
Okay.
After the credits.
Sure.
Now, mind you, I've got 2 horrible movies to run past you, too.
Yeah, we'll do after the credits.
Okay. So Christina lives in her nice house in Kensington.
Yes.
She's just fine.
She's absolutely fine.
Maybe she can loan Martin some money.
And he can start a...
Though he has a very nice house for a bartender who's bankrupt.
Extremely nice house. I hope Freddie Tomlin gets justice.
Yeah.
Maybe get some money.
Yeah. Mrs. Wilson will feel better because she got it off her chest.
Matt Morecraft has a crappy hotel
that he has to run by himself.
Yeah, he's all alone now.
So do you think Garth is going to go to prison?
I think Garth has got to go to prison.
But not for long.
No. Not like Julia.
All he did was chop up the body.
Okay, we know that.
He's just an accessory.
Yeah.
So Gemma can go on drawing cannibal birds.
I think Gemma takes over the magazine.
Interesting. Well, you don't know who Guy's will would give it to.
Yeah.
We would guess Christina.
You would think Christina owns the magazine and the house now, too.
No. Why would he leave it to Christina? She's his ex.
What? They don't have any kids.
He doesn't have any family that we know of, so I don't know who he'd leave it to.
This is another episode that we've seen a couple of times where people who should have children don't have children.
Well, they married later, I would guess. Speaking of Guy, he's played by Simon Williams.
Yes.
Who was, he's probably best known for being an Upstairs Downstairs.
Okay.
But then he was in a Murdoch episode called Downstairs Upstairs.
He was?
Yes, which is funny.
Oh.
He was also in this really weird show called Kinvig.
Are we in the next part or are we still?
No, I'm just, while we're thinking about who's dead and who's not and who's given their thing, I just realized that I didn't mention that. Kinvig, about a guy who's kind of a loser, but then realizes that this lady he's met is actually an alien from the planet Mercury. I can't make this stuff up.
What?
I know, that's what I said. It's from 1981. Kinvig.
Wow.
You can Google it.
The BBC sitting there going, what can we do to compete with Mork and Mindy?
So Brad and Mandy just go off in their 4x4 and are nasty to somebody else, right?
So
there's nothing
on
there.
To the next thing.
And that's kind of it.
Yep.
I still can't get over the fact that the actress who plays Julia, her real name is Pookie.
Her name is Pookie Quesnel? Kesnel, maybe?
It's still Pookie.
Is Pookie short for something?
Not that I could find.
Maybe Prunella?
I don't know.
Which is a real name. We're not making fun of making up this name. Prunella is a real name in England.
I know.
It's a horrible name.
Yeah.
And I would, if I was named Prunella, I would rather go by Pookie.
But Dorcas is a real name too, you know? Yeah. But the only Pookie I've ever heard is Badger's Drift.
Yeah,
it's the pet name that the wife has for the doctor.
Yep.
She calls him Pookie.
Yep.
All right, are you ready for your bad movies?
Okay, hit me up with some bad movies.
This movie is terrible. Ha! I bet Mark's seen it.
I have 2 horrible movies.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just go out on a limb here and say I'm gonna be 2 for 2.
Okay, that's your prediction.
So the first one is a 1971 film that Simon Williams is in, and he's the guy who plays Guy Sands in this episode.
Okay.
And I'll read you the synopsis and see if you can name it. Okay?
Yep.
When a mysterious corpse is accidentally dug up by a boy in a small town, a group of local teens start acting very strangely. The adolescents, led by a girl named Angel, are convinced the corpse was once possessed. Hoping to get in touch with the devil through the body, the teens act out a series of demonic rituals that cause a stir among the townspeople. When word of the satanic activity spreads, certain parents start trying to lock up the kids behind the spooky stunts.
I've never seen this movie.
It's called The Blood on Satan's Claw. It's not a Hammer movie.
I've seen the poster, but I haven't seen that movie. Yeah, Blood on Satan's Claw. I've seen the poster for sure.
1 point for me.
Yep. I know of that movie, but I've never seen it.
Okay. The second one may be the most current movie we've ever mentioned.
Okay.
It is a 2009 movie.
Ooh.
And Mayanna Burling, who plays Mandy the Headbutter in this episode, is in it. Their women have been enslaved by the local pack of lesbian vampires thanks to an ancient curse. The remaining menfolk of a rural town send 2 hapless young lads out into the moors as a sacrifice. You could almost guess the name from the synopsis, but you haven't seen this, have you?
No, I haven't.
It is called Lesbian Vampire Killers.
Okay.
James Corddry's in it.
Yes.
Isn't that his name? Is James Cordry?
Yeah.
Who does the late night show now?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah. I've seen, again, I think I saw the trailer for this show, but I looked at it and went...
It gets like half a tomato on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, and it's 2009, so the kids are like tiny. So I'm not going to be watching this movie in the house. Like, there's going to be boobs in this movie.
Speaking of boobs, there was a movie I wanted to list here that I could not find a synopsis that I thought was safe for the podcast.
Wow.
That Simon Williams, Guy Sands, is in. It's called The Touchables.
Ooh.
And it's about 4 ladies who kidnap a rock pop star. And then there's like satanic stuff that goes on. And his friends have to come and rescue him with like guns and stuff. And even the posters are probably X-rated.
My gosh, why have I not seen that movie?
You want to talk about movies you can't see when the kids are around?
The Touchables.
The Touchables, you can't even look at the posters when the kids are around.
I'll put the
And they're 19.
I'll put the posters for all these in.
You might have to put some bars over the Touchable posters.
Wow.
It's that bad.
Wow. So you went 2 for 2?
Yeah, 2 for 2.
Good job.
I think that if I remember right, the poster for the Touchables says a stag movie for gentlemen. But it was a wide release movie. It wasn't.
Wow.
So that is Midsomer Life.
It is.
The moral of the story is don't be a tosser.
Yes.
And don't work for a local magazine unless you stay away from dryers.
And don't go on errands of doom.
Listen, when somebody says stay safe, don't get me charcoal for my birthday.
Yes.
What's up next, honey?
Midsomer Maniacs.
No, what's our next episode?
Our next episode is one of my favorites, The Magician's Nephew.
Magic tricks.
I love that it has magic. I love that it has secret books and booksellers and all this good stuff.
Yep, it's a good one. We're out of our streak of dark, serious episodes.
Yep. You can find Midsomer Maniacs on Twitter, Instagram, and email. We also post on Facebook groups for Midsomer and Acorn and subreddit for anywhere else. And the subreddit and anywhere else you find Maniacs, which are apparently all over the place now because they order stuff.
Which is incredible. I'm so excited to donate that money.
Again, look on any post I have between now and Christmas. The shop will be in there.
Yep. And if you've got more ideas for designs, keep sending them in. I'm always happy to be inspired. Thank you for all the ones that you already sent in. Some of you probably noticed that I definitely took inspiration from some of the ideas that you shared.
Let's promise this right now. If we get $500 before we get to Christmas, we'll do more design.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So.
Yep. All right, Maniacs. Till next time.
Bye, Maniac.
Bye, Maniac. So did they like print that on a piece of cardboard and stick it inside the dryer door?
Yes.
Or is that After Effects?
No, I think they put it on a piece of cardboard and shoved it in the door and turned the dryer on.
I may have to make that and put it in our dryer and just film it.